So this video is going to show some of the new charting features in the Adaptable Blotter, about which we're really excited. They come as part of our new partnership with Infragistics, and over the coming months you'll see many more features added, such as doughnut charts, pie charts, financial charts, data series, more Excel integration, etc. But for the moment we're just going to start with the category charts. And as we can see here, we have a very basic data set. We have a start, an end, a low and a high for some dummy market prices with a date and a volume. We're using the AG grid, which is by far the best of all the HTML5 data grids out there. If you're not using it, you should, because it's really first rate. Okay, so let's start with a chart. And so we will keep all four of these columns. The end, the high, the low and the start. We'll add all of those as our y-axis columns. They're the vertical columns. And then for our x column, for our horizontal column, we'll have date. We'll call these, give it a title, market prices by date. So there we are, market prices by date. For the y-axis we've got end, high, low, start. We're summing them. For the x-axis we have date, and we're showing all column values for the moment. If I finish that, there's my chart. And then whenever I want, I can click on it and make it appear. By default, it shows me a line chart, and you can see for each point in the chart. We've got quite a lot of rows at the moment. We've got 200 rows, so it's kind of fairly hard to everything. But there's obviously a huge amount of different things we can choose. So we can add call outs, so we can say show me data ranges. You can now see them here. We can say let's add crosshairs, so now when I'm moving across I can better see what I'm doing. What else can we do? We can change the tooltip to be that of the category, and then you see it like this, and many other things. We can show final values, so we can see the final value. We can also make this chart appear in lots of different ways. So the default is line, as we said, but you can see it as a step line, as points, and of course as columns. By default, when you see columns, they overlap on top of each other. Now there's quite a lot of columns here. So what happens if you wanted to see fewer pieces of data in our grid? So we can just edit the chart. We'll keep the same y-axis, we'll keep the same x, but this time instead of saying all, let's now filter it. Let's say we only want to see those dates which appear after, let's go back a while, let's say after from the 18th onwards. So we only want to see any dates from the 18th, everything else stays the same, and now we have fewer. And again, you can see that the column is appearing on overlap. If I change that to 0, then you have a much more standard. And of course, anytime you want, you can close it in order to see the chart better. We're showing it in a light theme, but obviously you can change the theme and everything will just automatically reappear. So there's charts. What else can we set? We can change the annotation. So let's, for instance, say instead of data ranges, let's now see data changes, and then you can see all the data change points. And the final thing, of course, to point out, of course, is that charts is completely live. So for instance, for this last day here, which is company 331, which is the value we're seeing here, if I was to change that to something silly, and obviously you wouldn't change it normally, but you can see how the chart's live. As soon as I press enter, the chart changes. So there we are. Category charting, the ability to basically create your own charts at runtime. You can close them down, you can have as many as you want, and then just choose a chart you want, click to show it, and it can appear. And it can appear wherever you want. It can appear whichever div you give it, so it can be next to the grid, instead of the grid, above, below. You can ship your adaptable blotters with as many charts as you want, and of course it all gets saved to your persistence like everything else. So there we are, Adaptable Blotter charting. The first chart type has now arrived, to be followed over the coming months by many more. So please stay in touch, and if you want to find out more, we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching.